All right, what is up, maniacs? Welcome back to Sound and Pound. It is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. I'm your host, Drake Riggs, along with my other host, Alex Behunin, here to bring you all the wackiness in the world of mixed martial arts. Here, that's why we call it Sound and Pound, for all the craziness and to get into your ears. Pound our sound into your ears, baby. Let's get weird. Oh, Alex, we have the fallout of UFC 294 to get into. That's kind of going to be the big thing this week, of course, as we have a week off from UFC, but we'll find the weirdness as that is kind of the point here to give you guys something to talk about. And of course, ask your questions throughout the show. Yeah, and our movie club coming up, all that stuff. It is a weird week, but hey, should be fun. Just how are things, man? Of course, we were chit-chatting a little bit, getting our movie talk in before we get to the club, but how is it?
Good, man. Good. It's I'm very happy that we have an off week. Like it's very rare. But I'm happy. I'm kind of chilling. I'm happy to be talking with you. And dude, it's last the pay per view was just fucking weird. It was just a weird pay per view. It's just
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame the morning time for us because that's always weird for me. I still can never get
Yeah,
used to that, even though it's a rarity these days. But
dude.
I'm never, I can never, we can never complain because of like the British people and all that. So I'm just gonna shut up right now before someone
Yeah,
says it. But
right.
yeah, that was yeah, that it was definitely a weird card. So I mean, let's just get right into all that good fun, Alex. With our maniacal moments of the week, of course. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot kind of to choose from in terms of story, fight itself. For me, I'll kick it off here with my maniacal moment from this past week. It is going to be on UFC 294, and I think the one that kind of stood out to me most I wanted to touch on was, what do we call it? Nutshot Gate. The weirdness with Victor Henry and Javid Basharat's no contest. And I shouldn't even say weirdness about it because there's nothing weird about it, Alex. It was a fucking nut shot. It was a nut shot. Victor Henry is the last guy who's going to fake a fucking nut shot. We have an interview on this channel that I talked to him where he practices and trains for them. That guy's not faking it, okay? I mean, I don't even shouldn't have to say that. But the thing about this, obviously, if you missed it, doctor told him he was that it didn't land low. What his immediate response was like, no, that was all dick and balls, which was hilarious because that's just kind of Victor Henry being himself there, but he was being honest. Um, and then afterward, Alex, like, I think that the doctor stuff perpetuated like then this narrative of, oh, he really was faking it. And Javid, I know he said that he thinks he was faking. Like it became this whole big thing, and I was like, this is crazy, man. It kind of showed a lot of ignorance, especially about Victor, in my opinion. And I know we're kind of on each side of this fight, where I know you've talked to Javid before a lot, and now I've talked to Victor, but um, I just think that's crazy. Like the doctor thing is the big one about this, but man, I think we're obviously in need of a rematch, but I got to get your thoughts when this unfolded. I actually didn't see it live. I got like woke up like right after this fight, but I mean, what are your thoughts on this ridiculousness? And I mean, there's plenty to talk about this doctor, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler. My moment of the week is going to be Johnny Walker and Ankalaev
Right,
doctor.
perfect.
So same stupid ass fucking doctor. Yeah, I mean, Victor Henry's never been stopped, never been submitted. He's not gonna quit to some fucking like he's not gonna fake a nut shot to get out of a fight with Javid Basharat.
In the beginning of round two as well. Like, come
Where
on.
he and the fight like it was a good fight. It was a good competitive fight. Yeah, it's just so stupid to like. I just like the doctor is so dumb, and then I just don't like. I think Javid was in the wrong for just accusing him of quitting, and then of course he had all the other fighters jumping in like he quit, he quit, he quit. Like if you're gonna say one thing about the fight, like Victor's not gonna quit a fight, dude.
Yeah.
Like he is a veteran of mixed martial arts, bro. Like he's fought all around the world. He's not gonna quit to a fucking nut shop, you know. Like it was just so silly. And just that doctor, man. I mean, I'll bring it over to the Ankalaev Johnny Walker stuff. Like, dude, like, bro, first of all, you're not gonna bring a
He was
translator
kind
in
of playing
to
ref a little bit, like it
dude, like
was
you're
weird.
not gonna bring a translator in to someone who speaks fluent Portuguese and English is his second language that he just barely got good at speaking in the last
Just
couple of years.
recently.
Like, what? Like, dude, and then like they were in the desert. That's what Johnny said. Like, I mean, it makes, dude. I'd probably get that fucking question wrong to be honest with you. Like, straight up. So yeah, the doctor
Yes.
is just so fucking stupid, and I hope we never hear about him again. He probably screwed his fucking career, so he probably won't be being the
Hopefully.
doctor ever again. So yeah, it was just so stupid, man. Like, especially like especially for a main card fight like that, a big fight like between Makhachev and Johnny Walker. Like, bro, like winner of that fight could easily fight easily be a number one contender fight, especially if Jamal Hill's not ready to fight. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like there was a lot of implications in that. So just so silly. And then just kind of circle back to the Javid and Victor Henry. I do hope they run it back. I do think Javid was a little bit pissed off because they were booked for September.
Yeah, yeah.
Victor pulled out, so I'm sure there was just a lot of bad blood going into it, right? So but yeah, I just like to accuse him of quitting is just kind of like know who you're accusing, you know?
Yeah, I think that was maybe more of an emotional response than anything, because yeah, of the previous, but that was just like a full month ago, actually. I think I was looking at it last night, September 23rd
Yeah.
was when we were supposed to fight it, the Fiziev, Gamrot card. Um, yeah, I'm really glad though, of course, kinda had to mention the Ankalaev one, but dude, to me, it says more than anything, like, how fucking cursed is he now? Like, all of a sudden, like, man, I don't know if there's a worse 2 fight stretch in terms of results that I can think of in a long time than him having this draw that against, Blachowicz that he should have won, in my opinion. I thought it was fairly clear. Um, I don't I am on the edge of saying robbery for, that draw. I thought he won that fight for sure. I don't know what you think, but and then this to happen, it's like, with a significant amount of time between, it's like, dude can't catch a break, man. It's brutal for him.
I mean, and then the last time he fought in Fight Island, or one of the last time he fought, he had that whole Ian Kutalaba,
Right.
rolling with the punches, stopped early. Like, yeah, I mean, bro might as well leave the UFC and go fight for the PFL right now. Like, he's so cursed.
Gosh, yeah, I could not believe that, and I know he said something afterward, but I saw kinda translations were all over the place, and, it's like I think that's funny too and a part of it because last time at the Blachowicz fight, they got his translations messed up too, where it sounded like he said he wanted to leave the UFC, so it's like,
That
man,
yeah, that and he said like he didn't want to fight in Vegas anymore, so he goes and fights
yeah.
in Abu Dhabi, and then this
Yeah.
happens.
Oh, man. Like, I'm laughing, but it actually is a bummer because he's a very good fighter, I think, and I know a lot of people don't think he's the most exciting, but he's, like, legit easy top 5 clearly, and I I don't know what you do, like, did they run that one back as well? I feel like you kinda have to. It was
I
shorter
mean,
time than Henry and, than Basharat, obviously.
throw it on MSG in like
Yeah.
2 weeks or whenever it is, and just run it back.
Yeah, that was, my goodness, definitely so multiple maniacal moments on that card, and as for the actual fight stuff, the good stuff though, Alex, what is your kind of highlight for, maniacal moment in cage results? The good stuff, actually, performances.
Yeah, I mean, Islam head kicking Alexander Volkanovski,
Gotta be
man.
it.
I mean, I no one saw that one. No one saw that one coming. Yeah, I mean, he just kind of stamped himself as like, all right, like he's him. Like Islam is the real deal.
Yeah.
And like he's finishing his fights. He's finishing fights. He's finished 6 of his last 7 fights. Like he's good, man. He's good. And then I guess the other one I'd throw out there, just like uh, Usman coming off the fight, coming off the couch on 12 days against a young, hungry lion like Chimaev, who hasn't fought in over a year and a half, like
Mm.
put up a great fight, and I scored it a draw. I could see Chimaev winning for sure, 1,000%. And I think I just think Chimaev. I'm not going to say he's overhyped. I'm not going to say he's overrated. I'm just saying I think everybody should just pump the brakes a little bit on Hamza Chimaev, because he couldn't finish Usman off the couch on 12 days notice. He went life and death with Gilbert Burns, the lightweight. Like, I was picking Paulo Costa to beat Hamza Chimaev. Like, I was um, I do think Hamzat's really good. Of course, you can say he broke his hand in the first fight or first round. That could have caused, but he gassed in
Still
that
not
first round.
confirmed, right? There's no
Yeah,
news on that.
exactly, no news, but he gassed in that first round. And if he doesn't finish Sean Strickland in that first round, Sean Strickland's gonna cook this dude.
Yeah, yeah, it gets very interesting. He is kind of proving to be a little bit of yeah, like just another world in like the first round, like one of the scariest first round fighters of all time. That's pretty clear. But yeah, it's I'm interested. Like I agree. I think it was very weird that fight in terms of how it kind of escalated and played out because I agree with you. I did have it a draw as well. I gave first round 10-8, right? We agree there.
Yeah,
And then 10-9s for Usman and 2-3. But I think round two, that's total 50-50 for me. That was very, very
one
up in the
thousand
air.
percent.
I kind of understand however people want to score that one. But yeah, obviously looked amazing in the first round. The fact that he could do that was great. It doesn't tell us a whole bunch about him at middleweight, this kind of thing. Like he got ranked today at number 9 in the official UFC rankings, and I'm like, I mean, this really doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for him to get ranked after, yes, a great win, but it means nothing for the actual division. Like yet he's got to beat an actual ranked guy first. And do I think he can? Of course. Do I think he will? Of course. Like all that stuff, but um, it's just weird how I think that in the end, this actually might have. I mean, he's still probably going to get a title shot, but it kind of hurts him in terms of expectations. Maybe like, let's say he would have gone in there and ran through Costa instead. Um,
Right.
People, we're not having this conversation about, oh, if he doesn't beat Strickland in the first round, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that stuff. And as for Makhachev, that was definitely my pick for the kind of good performance, kind of mania this past week. Yeah, there's not much more you could say. It was like, goddamn, he really just slowed down, shut down Volk kind of early. I don't want to say shut down. I saw other people saying this, I think yesterday too, but like, yeah, he didn't allow for Volk to really set anything and get the pace going early, like maybe he would have wanted it. And was working for that head kick early. Saw him throw it maybe twice before, and then the third time was the charm. And I mean, it sucks in terms of like you want to see the fight go on more and you want to see it with better circumstances, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, damn, he did the thing. He did that thing against the best. And the crazy part too is I think you mentioned like him finishing. Like, yeah, you look at Islam's record and history. He has been, I think, I haven't put him side by side, but probably at least before Habib like really peaked out, he became a finisher in like his last couple of fights, obviously. More so because there was like a patch when he was kind of dealing with the injuries, but Islam has been pretty consistent in his finishing abilities, and especially against these guys and a guy like Volk, that's crazy no matter what. I mean, pound for pound, all that goodness, and it's also crazy like he's got 2 title defenses already. The record for this division is 3, Alex. They're against the same
against
guy.
against a featherweight.
Yeah, but like I think that kind of is something to mention because it blurs stuff a little bit. Like, it's not taking anything away from the Windsor. Of course, it's amazing beating Volkanovski is not easy, obviously, but that's really weird to me. Like, he's next fight, he ties the record. Like, I think it is not. It isn't. I think if he gets like 3 against lightweights, then we'll be like, all right, well, there you go. Like, that's a little bit weird. Am I weird for feeling that way?
No, I mean, no one. I mean, it's kind of like going back to Kamaru Usman, where everyone like there was this narrative out there that Usman was the best welterweight of all time when he beat Colby twice, beat George twice, and beat Gilbert Burns.
It's like
Like
when
what?
Kane was beating Bigfoot and Junior only. Like, yeah, I fucking hate
So
that.
yeah, yeah, 1000%, 1000%. I mean, yeah, I mean, I really, as much as like I love Charles Oliveira, I hope we see Islam versus Justin just so that he can like fight someone new.
Mhm.
I just like there's just been so many rematches in in the UFC like the last fucking few years. Just so many rematches in title fights. Like I understand it sells. I understand there's history. I understand you could there's a story there, but like fresh matchups, please.
Yeah.
Like that's what I prefer.
Yes, totally in agreement. I am always for the good freshness as well. And fun fact here, and interesting, I see James in here mention the head kick, kind of some guys talking about that. But Alex, did you know when Volkanovski lost his first fight, the first fight that he lost in his fourth fight against, I was just looking at the name yesterday when I was writing, but his first loss at welterweight was actually the same way he got head kicked and finished with punches. So
And it was
kind
10 years
of,
ago. 10
yeah,
years ago.
yeah, kind of shows that you know, the height maybe would be an issue for Volkanovski. And when you look at it, like I guess, of course, most people are taller than him, but I don't know,
And
guys who,
Max dropped him with a head kick as well.
yeah. So ooh, maybe a weakness opening up here, you guys. Something to notice. But congrats to the champ. And then yeah, Hamzat as well. So we'll move on from our maniacal moments. Good stuff there. Plenty to get into. To the underrated moment of the week, Alex. I think there's some pretty solid ones to choose from here, but kick us off.
Man, there's two. And I'll kind of throw them out there. Maybe the same one. One is Volkanovski's kind of emotional press conference saying that
Mm.
like he had to fight for like his mental state. The other one is the two fighters that lied and admitted that they fought with staph infection.
So who was the other
Um,
one? I know Dudakova. I missed the other one
and
though.
Mike Breeden.
Okay.
So those are the two. Which one kind of is more interesting to you?
Um, I mean, they're both. I never saw. I would probably never guess the Volkanovski one, right? Like I would never assume that. But fucking fighters lie all the time. So the other one doesn't surprise me, and people get away with shit. And I think it was funny how Dana was like, "Then why are you bringing it up now?" You know. So I mean, you can go in either direction there. I'm fine with.
I mean, just like maybe staff, just like bro, it's so fucking disgusting.
Yeah, that's nasty.
One, like you got away with it. You beat the UFC's doctors. You beat the commission. Like, just shut the fuck up, dude. Like, and
Yeah.
then just to admit it, like, bro. Not only are you putting other fighters at risk, you know, because they're fighting in the same exact cage as you, or the fighters backstage with you.
Mhm.
You're putting your teammates at risk. You're putting the UFC staff at risk. You're putting everybody at risk. Like, bro, like
Yeah.
staff infection is no joke. That's just disgusting and shame on them. And I'll touch both of them. And then just Volkanovski being so emotional, like, dude, it's very rare that we see that from him. And
Yeah.
like I've seen a lot of people comparing like him, like people are saying that like this is like a thing where we're gonna see him go down like a BJ Penn, Tony Ferguson, where like he just continues to fight.
Eh,
I don't see that. Like I just think like some people like he knows he's on a timer, right? Like, and
yes.
if he's not fighting, then like he knows that his career is taken away, right? So he wants to
Mhm.
fight as much as he can until the his timer is over. And being 35 in a lower weight class, I think there's like some stat like there's only like two fighters that have like defended their or won a title or defended their
Yeah.
title. Like it's so he's on a timer, so I understand why he wants to fight. And but it was just very rare. It was like kind of shocking to see him get choked up about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's like it kind of it makes the element of fighting Tapuria in January all the more interesting. Like I'm sure UFC won't have any problem with that if he's able to, right? Like, I don't think he should be super messed up or anything. You never really know. Not doctors, obviously, but um, yeah, that was and I mean it's weird too because we talked about kind of the activity levels last week as well, but like it's not like as a champion, you literally you're not gonna be fighting like within 3 months, typically, right? Like there have been obviously some rare cases where Sterling did that this year and some turnarounds like that. But he has, I feel like he's still, no matter what, is not gonna be as active as he, would like to be in like a perfect world. Because you just can't do that as a champion. UFC wants to sell the fights the certain ways. This was a very rare exception. Like we weren't going to see him for the rest of the year if this opportunity didn't open up. So,
Right.
um, yeah, you wish him the best. I think that the loss in that fashion definitely didn't help. That's probably a big part of it. Like, would he still have said this if he won? Probably not. Probably not. If he
Right.
lost, regardless of how, it's hard to tell. But um, yeah, and then of course Steph is just disgusting. So I think you're right on both fronts there. Crazy, crazy shit. And I'm glad you mentioned those ones because I had a fight one. My choice there for the underrated moment was the long lost what do you want to call him? I mean, he's a Nurmagomedov, but he's not really. Saeed Nurmagomedov, this guy
Mm.
with a phenomenal another guillotine ninja choke type of submission. Like he's got 3 in the UFC now, and dude, he's fucking lethal with this move here. Like as we've seen, kicking off the pay per view this past weekend. Um, I feel it's very weird with Saeed Nurmagomedov, right? Like he shows these flashes of brilliance sometimes. Looks very good. 31 established guy, has a good record. 17-3. I have it up right here. 18-3 now. In the deepest division out there, bantamweight. But still, we've seen like he's not. I don't feel like he's going to quite go anywhere necessarily because he's lost to guys like Jonathan Martinez. Not to say that's a bad loss, but if he's losing to these guys and can't get over this hump, and then he's still doing this stuff, he's kind of like I don't know how to describe him, Alex. Like, were you impressed by? I mean, hard not to be impressed by the win, but I guess what do you make of Saeed? I don't think he got back in the top 15 now with this one, but I'm still as impressed and great as I want to highlight this and his like lethal choking ability. He's a weird guy, like in terms of his position.
Yeah, and I thought he beat Jonathan Martinez. I think that I thought he clearly beat Jonathan Martinez. Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of echo what you're saying. Like, I think him not speaking English probably is not probably doesn't help him. But like him being a Nurmagomedov and being such a fun striker, submission artist,
Yeah.
not relying on just straight grappling, like it's cool. Like it's like
Yeah.
yeah, he's fun to watch. I don't know what his ceiling is. Maybe top five. Maybe
I think at
it's
best
hard
right
because
now. Yeah.
yeah, at best, just because like, dude, this bantamweight division is ridiculously stacked. We say it every week. Like
Hmm.
it's tough to like see where anybody's ceiling is like past like the top five.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think stylistically, some of those matchups get pretty hard for him as he continues to climb. But hey, I mean, if he can continue to pull off these kind of, submissions out of relatively nowhere, I mean, was so beautiful. I loved this one that he hit on Gafarov there. Like, whoo,
Yeah.
just you take an inch, it's crazy. So, yes, my underrated moment for the week. And Alvin here, real quick, I want to touch on this. Says, hello, Mr. Riggs. For the next show, I have a message about movies that I would like to privately. Yes, of course, Alvin. Of course, I'm curious if you have suggestions. If anyone has suggestions, of course, comment wherever, whether it's in the comment box below when we are offline or in the chat box here. Octagon update says the fuck was Gafarov thinking?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. What is he thinking? He's got to shave his back hair. Dude, I couldn't help that. Every time I see that, I'm like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah. Shave that hair and don't shoot for a takedown on
Don't. Yes. He was a little
Nurmagomedov.
too wild. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. But
Silly.
oh, right. Let's move along now to our favorite segment of the week, potentially, the Mania mainline. Cooking up what we got coming, which honestly is not a lot. So this is going to be very fun. I'm very curious to see what you got in store for our mainline, Alex, because, yeah, I got, I got, I got some, but they are what they are. So let's start us off.
Um, you start us off.
Okay.
You start us off.
So yes, for the main line, you guys, if you're new here, which we understand it's our third show, it's just kind of highlighting our personal favorite upcoming fights of the week, stuff that we're most interested in. And since it is off UFC week and just kind of overall, I mean, I think there's a one Friday fights card, but nothing too much standing out to me there. It's just kind of a lower one. But we do have Invicta back in our lives. Invicta FC 54 is on Friday. They're back on a good day. They used to be doing Wednesdays the last couple of shows for whatever reason, kicking off in Boston. And I mean, by default, I feel like kind of have to go with the main event. I mean, some of the other fights are nice and all right. We mentioned the one last week, Faria added to that one. But the title fight at strawweight, Danny McCormick defending against Karolina Vajcik. Very kind of interesting fight in terms of like paths to get to this fight is very unique to me, Alex, because like Danny McCormick, formerly Danny Nealon, she is the champ now, was in Bellator. I was kind of surprised that they let her go in the first place just because Irish, they obviously love having all those fighters in the market there, building that up whenever they go. But of course, Bellator may be thinking ahead with not being around. I don't know. So here we are now. She's the champ and taking on Karolina Vajcik, who is a veteran of KSW. She was on Contender Series, but didn't get the contract. So you probably saw her fight in person, Alex. I mean, this was what, like last year.
Yep.
And she did win, so she just didn't get a contract. But she's good. Have competed in the Invicta strawweight Phoenix tournament last year as well. Came up short against Valeska Machado, who ended up losing to Danny McCormick to swap the title. All this kind of stuff. So the paths to get here is very interesting. They're both pretty fun strikers. Don't expect a whole lot of grappling in this one. 5 rounds, always fun and good, I think, for fighters at this level to get their experience in. And McCormick in her last fight with Machado to win the title, like, took a pretty good beating, so she's like never one to defend very well, but it's just a matter of if she can outpace or out volume her opponents kind of. So we'll see if she can do that to Vajcik. I'm looking forward to that one. And I mean, title fight again, like I said, by default kind of has to be. But I also wanted to point this out, Alex. I wanted to mention this one because this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect for our Mania mainline in week 3 of our show. But there's an event going down in Poland called Clout MMA. Clout MMA 2. And I mentioned this because obviously that's a hilarious name, but we have Daniel Amilechechuk. If you remember this guy, UFC former heavyweight, he's in a boxing match against some dude, Dennis Zalecki. Don't know who he is, but I think that's funny that that's happening. And then also the legend himself, Jerome LeBanner, is back in a kickboxing match, still going strong. If you guys know anything about striking or kickboxing, fucking Jerome LeBanner is the man. I think he had a couple MMA fights around 2010, but he's like 45 now. So like this is perfectly wacky Polish MMA. So I had to shout that out for sure. And let me see what else is on this card. Nothing too crazy, but it's a mix of boxing, MMA, and kickboxing. So actually should be pretty entertaining if you could find a way to watch it. I don't know where it's going to stream, but I'm sure Kaposa knows. So that is those are the ones I wanted to point out this week, Alex. one that is a me pick, and then one that's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, funny enough, Carolina is the only fighter from last season to win that didn't get a UFC contract.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep. The only
Damn,
fighter.
that sucks. That's a bummer. You don't want to be that person.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, LFA 170 is on Friday. Harris Talunzik is back after a little bit of a layoff, but obviously, I think probably the biggest fight this week or biggest story is Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. I don't really give a fuck about it because I think Tyson Fury is just gonna make Francis look silly. I think it was a dumb fight to begin with, but I'm happy that Francis is going to get a big payday. I think that's all that. I think the biggest storyline probably anyone should probably even care about is Francis getting paid. I think I don't think it's going to be competitive. I mean, it is the year of the underdog, so maybe
Yeah.
Francis lands one big punch, but I just feel like I think I I think there's two things that's gonna happen. It's either Tyson's is gonna make a point and beat this guy down, probably finish him in the second or maybe third, fourth, fifth round, or Tyson's gonna play with his food, make it somewhat competitive, make it somewhat, a la Floyd Mayweather, Conor
Mm,
McGregor, and just kind of either go all the way to a decision or finish them late. Like
right.
but other than that, I just don't really care. Am I going to watch it? If there's a good stream, I'll watch it. But other than that, I'm very happy that Saturday I'm not doing shit except for writing later in the night.
So I would, just to touch on that, like I would expect kind of the earlier one you say there of him trying to finish it because he's got the other fight lined up, right? I mean,
Could be, yeah.
what would you lean towards, like if you had to pick what'll happen?
Yeah, that's a good.
I mean,
He
that
does have a.
seems to make sense, especially if they want it for December. I know it's not set, right?
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I still think he's going to kind of play with his food for a little
Yeah,
bit, at least maybe go because I believe it's only is it 10. It's only 10 rounds, so
pretty sure. Yeah.
maybe they go. Maybe it goes 6 rounds. Six
Mhm.
rounds. Also, it depends. Like if Francis shows up and like is actually showing him something that like
Oh yeah.
for some way he hasn't seen before, like the awkward movement, whatever game plan Francis has. Maybe and then he's like, all right, well, I have a chance of getting caught, so I'm gonna fucking do work. But yeah, or like you said, he's like, I have this big boxing fight with Usyk in December. Fuck this, I'm gonna put it into Francis Ngannou and really, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
I hear you. I mean, okay, before we move on from that though, I want to know, uh, are you more interested in this fight, this matchup than you were when Conor and Floyd was happening? Because I will say I am
uh,
just because it's heavyweight. That's the only reason. I never fucking gave a shit about Floyd Conor.
no. If it was if it was Francis Ngannou versus Wilder,
Ooh,
like that'd be one I'll be like, take my money. I'm watching that from the start to finish.
yeah.
This one I could care less. I was much more interested in Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather because I was convinced that Conor could beat Floyd. So.
You were one of them.
I got convinced like 2 weeks leading in. I was like, oh, like maybe Conor can do it, bro. Like, and then I watched the first 3 rounds, and I'm like, oh, yep, never mind.
Yep, this is what it is. This is what it always should have been. Yeah,
Yeah.
geez, that was crazy. I remember I was watching that on my phone at a friend's wedding. That was crazy times. August 2017. We'll never forget it. But all right, you guys, we'll move on from our Mania mainline now. Lots, man, crazy show, isn't it? A lot of weird stuff this week for sure. It's just one of those. You love to see it. But all right, now yeehaw, giddy up. Time for the matchup roundup. We got some good ones, I think, in here. Let me take a gander. More than last week. Some of my fonts are a little bit bigger, so it might look just a little bit funny, but we got some good ones in here, Alex, I think. I mean, the first ones here, and I'm out of order this time, I think. No, I got it pretty all right. Some of them are kind of all over, but all right, so we're gonna kick off with a trio of Bellator fights, and honestly, we might not rate these very high, but we got to touch on them. Let the people know what's going on. We're nothing but honest here. So, kicking us off, we will start with Cody Law. He is back taking on Jefferson Pontes at Bellator 301. These all three are actually for Bellator 301, just so you guys know. November 7th. Cody Law, he lost his last fight, right? Been a pretty solid prospect, looking to rebound. just a rating for this one, Alex. I'm gonna say a 5 just because of Cody Law factor.
Yeah, Cody won his last one, but it was kind of a get right fight.
He lost the one
Yeah,
before that, right? Am I
lost
remembering
two.
wrong?
He lost
Okay.
two. Yeah, he lost to Chris Gonzalez and Chris
Oh, that's
Lencioni.
right. Yes.
So he kind of got fraud checked, but yeah, I mean, this is like a
Same thing as the last one.
yeah, yeah, this is like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah. All right. And then we have Ramazan Kurmagomedov, who, streaking right now, 11-0, taking on Randall Wallace. Same night. Don't quite remember Wallace, but Kurmagomedov, I feel like I've seen him fight live. So I'm going to stick with kind of same 5 for these. They're probably all going to be 5s for me. Just, fights, filling up the card and seeing where Bellator goes. But how do you feel?
I'm actually happy that Randall Wallace got a shot. He's on a 5-fight win streak. He was the one that beat Louis Cosi when he went back to the regional scene in Uriah's promotion.
Hmm.
But he's probably gonna smashed in this. So this is like a 5 out of 10.
Smish. He's getting the
Smish.
smish. And then to close out the Bellator roundup here, Eve Landu taking on Isao Kobayashi. Also on the card, pair of vets here kind of going at it. That's kind of interesting, when they stack the undercard there. As, of course, recall Landu, but I can't say I'm too familiar with Kobayashi. Surprise, surprise. But again, it's a fight, but I'll go 4 on this one for the lesser known in my library.
Yeah, it's like 6 out of 10.
All right, all right. And now we move to UFC Fight Night, the December 9th card, which, Alex, is there a date on this one that I'm missing? Because I didn't put anything down. December
What was
9th,
that?
UFC Fight Night, December 9th. Is that
Yeah,
the
so
the
that's the China
potential Shanghai?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So yeah, not confirmed yet, obviously, but on that card they have added Yun Sung Park, 8-0, taking on Shannon Ross, who he's probably got to win this one, right? This is kind of speaks for itself just on paper. It's probably 3 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, it's a 1 out of 10. I don't know why Shannon Ross is still in the UFC. I don't know why he got signed in the first place. Lost on Contender Series.
Very
Yeah, I
weird.
mean, this is a 1 out of 10.
Yeah. So I'm being generous. But all right, now we get to the good stuff, Alex, which is what we teased last week. At the card before that, so that's why my order is out of place, like I said. But December 2nd, UFC Austin, Beneil Dariush coming back, looking to rebound against Arman Sarukian. Not 5 rounds at the moment, but we can hope. So as 3 rounds, though, how do we rate it, Alex?
Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 fight. If it was a main event, it'd be like a 12 out of 10 fight. But I'm hearing it's not the main event. So
Yeah, and I mean that hurts it a little bit for me, but I'm like in the same ballpark. I think a very solid 9. I'm not going to go perfect 10, but I love it. I think stylistically these guys, it's very similar to Gamrot, the Gamrot and Sarukian fight, and of course Gamrot has fought Dariush. That was fantastic as well. Like it's that level of just the elite lightweights who are just insanely technical as well, and obviously like not to say the Gaethje's, Poiriers, and whatnot aren't, but they're different, right, in terms of the way that they use their grappling and are technical in those realms to blend their games together a little bit. So yeah, this fight super exciting, going to be super good. Huge for Arman, to kind of get that name finally on his resume that he's been looking for and to stay kind of in that top 5, get locked in there. Join that elite rank or tier, if you will. So yeah, that
yeah,
one is an awesome
1000%.
fight. Can't wait. Should be main event, so we will put it out there into the atmosphere. But all right, then on UFC 296, Alex, we got a trio of fights added, but we will start off with the heavyweights as Shamil Gaziev is taking on Martin Buday. How do you feel about that one? What do we rate it?
Yeah, it's weird that they match these two guys up. Martin's 4-0 in the UFC. They're giving, I think he's ranked like number 15. They're giving Shamil a ranked opponent right off the top. It's probably because they probably think Martin Buday is probably boring, so they want to give this guy his ranking. Yeah, it's like a on paper, it's like a 4 out of 10 fight.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a big Boudet fan, really, but it's all right. Yeah, I think I'll agree with you there. I think the funniest thing about this fight was seeing kind of, the side by side when it was the announcement of it, and like these guys are professional athletes.
Right.
Because even more than anything, it's like, all right, but he's 11-0. He's doing his thing. So we'll see if he can, yeah, immediately jump into the top 15 in theory there. I didn't even realize that Boudet was ranked. That kind of shows you the sad state of affairs we're working with, in my opinion, but so we don't need to get into that. So also out of that card, though, ooh, Alex, this one is a banger, if I do say so myself. Same card, same night, UFC 296, December 16th. Josh Emmett, Giga Chikadze. What do you think about this one? What do we rate it?
Yeah, that's a I think it's a 10 out of 10, especially like it's a fun fight. It's crazy that that fight's going to be on the prelims, and
Yeah.
it's just Josh Emmett's just a fucking dog, bro. Like he's just fighting these young up and comers. He knows. I think he's not getting another title shot, so he's trying to go out in a blast of glory. Like he's just like let me test myself against these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's getting up there, so it's kind of like we got to enjoy Josh Emmett while he's still around, which I always like kept forgetting until like this year that I was like, oh my God, he's like what, 37, 38.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's a pretty good test. Here's the thing, like it can be a very good tough test for Giga, assuming that Josh tries to use his wrestling a bit more than he typically does. Cause like after like he scored his first big knockout in the UFC, it was like he kind of started neglecting his wrestling. And I mean, he went to it obviously against Yair, but it cost him. So it's very interesting how he's got that in his back pocket, but doesn't quite utilize it as much. And even against Ilya, I thought he should have at least tried maybe a little bit more, but Ilya didn't exactly let him. So that'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one as well. So, and it makes sense. It's a logical matchmaking move. So for me, solid 9. I'm trying to be not as given as my 10s, but you can do what you want. So I like it. I'm looking forward to it. And then, all right, this one is very interesting as well, Alex. The fight that the new UFC matchmaker made, Joe, forget his last name, sorry, but Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Kelleher, taking place also on this card. It's I mean, it's the Cody Garbrandt thing. What do you
I
think?
mean, Dana was hyping this matchup. I think Joe Reeves, he was hyping this matchup as if it was the fucking best matchup he's ever seen in his life. Like, dude, what? Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Boom Keller? That's the fight that got him hired, like, or like that like blew his mind. And
Yeah,
like, and then I think Joe Reeves actually posted the card that got him hired, and I'm pretty
it
like
wasn't
it's.
amazing.
I mean, like John Jones versus Sergey, Rafael Fiziev versus Michael Chandler. Like it was, I mean, it's
It was what you'd
just like
expect.
1000%. Yeah. So it was just oh, like Dana being a promoter, like promoting his new
Yeah, this
matchmaker.
would have
Like,
been way better Octagon updates. The rematch I fucking need
oh,
in my life.
1000%. Like that would have been like, oh my God, Joe Reeves, you're the man. But this one was like, oh, okay. Yeah. For the matchup itself, it's like a 7 out of 10. It's a winnable fight for both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I might say it's just so weird because of like for me what they're trying or wanting to do with Cody at this point. Like obviously they're trying to take it easy with him after, where his career did go. But like you go from Batista to Kelleher, still feels like, dropping a little bit. Like no offense to Kelleher whatsoever, but I mean that's just kind of, you look at their careers are obviously going in different directions right now. So Kelleher and Batista, that is. But
Oh, this is
eh,
yeah, it's a gigantic drop off, in
yeah,
my
not
opinion.
even, not even a question. So I kind of, because of that, it feels more of like not a gimme for Cody because, like you said, they can both win. And I mean, practically that's any of Cody's fights now. I kind of feel that way. I mean, what was it? Trevin Jones? I mean, could have won the fight. He just fought terribly stupid, terrible IQ in that fight. But it was a super winnable matchup. We saw that at the end of the fight. So yeah, it's like a 6 for me, I would say.
I just feel like if they obviously they're trying to give Cody they're trying to build him back up, but if you're gonna do that, at least give him an opponent that you could build if they were to beat Cody that you can build off him
Yeah,
because Brian Keller is older, he's
exactly.
where is he gonna go with a win over Cody?
Yeah. And 4 ounces
Yeah,
of freedom here, shouting out.
yeah,
Gregorio was the better one. I mean, yeah, that's like those kind of guys make much more sense. The younger guys
thousand
coming up and
percent.
all. So, all right, Joe. I mean, you do you, man. You got the power in your hands now, I guess. So, all right. As we move along here, rounding things out, we got 4 more here for you. UFC Fight Night. We go back to the undecided location one on December 9th. At lightweight, Alex Nasrat Haqparast versus Jamie Malarkey. I think this one's pretty fun. Nasrat was a guy who, man, when he was kind of on his streak, was looking so good. I thought that he could probably be a pretty solid top 15 contender. He's kind of obviously dropped off pretty well since then. Jamie Malarkey, I've honestly never been too sold on. He has some pretty fun fights, but I just don't think very highly of him. But I think stylistically, they match up pretty well. This should be pretty fun. It's like a solid 6.5 for me.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah, there we are. Short and to the point. And then we move along to this is no, we get to the January fights now. So we got 3 coming up far away. But at bantamweight, Ketlin Vieira is taking on Macy Chiasson, UFC Vegas 83. Weird one, I think. I mean, the bantamweight division is just a disaster right now. I enjoy watching both of them fight. I don't know if it's the fight I would have made. I never even thought about it really. Of course, Ketlin was very close to a title shot there, and then had the loss to Rocky. Macy kind of continually been trying to make the climb. Both 2 of the bigger bantamweights, that's for sure, and we've seen that they have hard to beat those. Lay it on me, Alex. How do you feel?
This is a 1 out of 10 fight. I couldn't give a fuck less about this fight. Oh my god, who gives a shit? Let's go. Give us our score and let's go. You're trying to gas
Too
this fight
much.
up. Let's just go. Come on.
This
Let's just go.
is a 6 for me.
How fucking dare you, bro? God damn. Oh
Yeah, and this
god.
is why we're a great show.
Oh fuck. Let's fucking go.
All right. Next up, for the first pay-per-view of the year, we have 2 fights so far, and we will kick things off here with the roundup. UFC 297 on January 20th has got Malcolm Gordon versus Jimmy Flick at flyweight. Alex, I think it should be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a fun fight. Probably 2 of the lowest ranked flyweights in the promotion. And I mean, this is Jimmy Flick's last fight on his contract. He loses this. I mean, he might as well just retire again. I think it's a winnable fight. So I think the matchup itself is a good. I think it's 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
Yep, I will agree with you there. And then for the other one, this is gonna close us out here for the matchup roundup, and a pretty interesting one. Kind of can tell us maybe a little something about old Mike Malott as he is taking on Neil Magny. Big veteran test in that regard. I like it. I think it's a pretty fair step. Maybe even a little bit quicker than I would have. I would have maybe given him. I'm not exactly sure where Magny is right now in the ranks. I know he's obviously back top 15, but I don't hate it. I like it. It's just it kind of caught me off guard, maybe, but of course makes sense. This is supposed to be Toronto, right? So you got to get him on that one, and then against a guy like Neil, good test. I think it's a good 6.5 for me, maybe 7. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like watching Neil Magny fight.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's just crazy how they're like,
Getting behind Malott.
yeah, especially he beat Mickey Gall, Johan Lanise, and Adam Fugit, and then you get a top 15 matchup in a pretty ridiculous welterweight division. Like Michael Morales hasn't even got it. Like, is that Michael?
Oh yeah. From Contender Series.
Yeah, like he hasn't even got a ranked fight. Like there's tons of like fighters throughout the promotion who like have like 6 fights in the like 6 wins in the UFC, better wins than Mike Malott, and they haven't even got ranked
Very
matchups.
true.
You know what I'm saying? So like obviously they're trying to get behind a Canadian fighter. I think what's going on. But I
I mean, they
mean
need one.
1000%. I just feel like, bro, this is a tough matchup because Magny's no pushover. Yeah, so I think that's like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting one, kind of for both guys. A little bit of crossroads, like Magny desperately needs a win too. So yeah, he could be at that point. Like, I think it's where you have this guy with all this longevity, obviously racking up the more fights, the more you got to pay the guy. So if he loses, I mean, it could be it for Magny because of the style and that factor as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but that will close us out in the matchup roundup. Yeehaw, everybody. Some good ones in there. Some good ones highlighted, of course, by I think Saruk and Dariush. But now we move on to Spotlight Ville, Alex. I mean, I don't know if I have too much time to spend on this one because for me, I'm just going to go with Danny McCormick since she's kind of the champ and we already touched on her fight. Of course, there's probably plenty to choose from. You mentioned the LFA card and then throughout Invicta there, but I'm going to kind of go with the easy one. Danny McCormick, who we talked about, defending their strawweight title against Carolina Boczik at Invicta. But who do you want to highlight if there is somebody
Yeah,
this
I'm
week?
actually gonna go. I'm gonna go last week. He fought on Saturday. I'm gonna actually write a. He's gonna be MMA Mania's prospect of the month.
Ooh.
So there's a little tease. Chris Padilla, um, Chris Taco Padilla. He beat Justin James, former UFC fighter. He's on a 3-fight win streak. And I'm gonna kind of say it in the article, right? Like he
Yeah.
has a 13-6 record, which might people be like, well, I mean, like, what's so good about that? But to me, he's done it all on the regional scene, right?
Mm.
He's won big fights, lost big fights, won a title, been tested, fought tough vets, fought everybody. Like I'm more of a kind of guy where like I want to see you tested on the regional scene before you get to the UFC
Yeah.
rather than someone who's 5-0 beating bums
Comes in too
in
early.
CS and comes in and get beat. So that's where I'm coming from, and look for MMA Mania's prospect of the month later this week.
All righty, there you go. I love the plugs there, as we'll get to those at the end of the show as well. But all right, that is Spotlightville, you guys. Of course, feel free to share any that you have in the comments as well. That yeah, I mean, there's plenty. It's kind of a prospect week plus wacky shit, obviously, as we mentioned earlier with boxing, and then the clout card, and I'm sure there's plenty others. But all right, now it's time for our favorite part of the show, you guys, the Drelex Movie Club. I'm particularly excited for this week for both reasons, really. But so last week, I received Creep from 2014. We forgot to mention that last time, Alex. So sorry if you guys watched any other Creep movies out there, because there was a couple when I was looking up. I was like, which one is it, man? But yes, Creep 2014, and then Alex got the stuff from 1985, and I'm dying to hear your reaction to this movie. So let's just get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 80s movie that's I just didn't enjoy it. I mean, I
You got
enjoyed
some
the
laughs, right?
like kind of like haha, what am I watching?
Yeah.
Haha. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just super cheese ball. I understand what they're going for. It was like a knockoff of the Blob, kind of a
Yes.
knockoff of I don't I get it. I get it. Am I going to watch this again? No. Would I
No.
recommend it to anybody? No. Paul Sorvino should be ashamed that he uh, fucking was in this movie. Yeah, I mean, I the visual effects for 1980 were 1980. I
Oh
like when
man,
the
that was the
dude,
best part for me.
yeah, I like when the black dude's head exploded. It's just, yeah. I fucking hate you for making me watch that movie. Let's put it that way.
I couldn't help myself. I knew it had to come up eventually. I was like, well, it is October.
Yeah. Oof,
But
God.
okay, we got to get it out of the way. So you're in the clear now, I promise. But yeah, I have no idea why I watched that movie. Like, I think it was on Netflix in like 2016, and I was like, okay, sure. I was feeling weird. And I was like,
Yeah.
watch this stuff, but yeah, sorry, man. Anyway, so I had the joy of watching Creep, which goddamn, you guys are gonna tell you right now, 2 for 2 home run hitters for Alex. So I feel extra bad about last week. But my God, like you're speaking my language, man, because I fucking loved this movie. And I will tell you right now, um, I don't know if you ever watched The League, but obviously Mark Duplass was in The League, and him and his brother Jay, obviously kind of like cult indie, super popular directors. Of course, they made a bunch of great movies. Um, some of my favorites, Cyrus with John C. Riley, Safety Not Guaranteed, Jeff Who Lives at Home, plenty of good stuff there. And this one I never even heard about or knew that he made, despite being a pretty big fan of him. So when I saw that he was in it and it was his movie, it's like, oh fuck. All right, let's go. This is gonna I know it's gonna be good in some way, but it was definitely fantastic in every way. If you know anything about the Duplass brothers, like it is perfectly one of their movies. Like some of the cuts in this, a lot of the cuts, especially like the first half to different scenes, just hilarious, dude. Like it's like a thriller kind of horror type movie, like Alex said last week, but being a Duplass brothers film, I mean, I don't think Jay was involved with this one, but Mark, I mean, he's just so funny. He has such great timing with everything. So the like a lot of the way it was filmed was very hilarious. I didn't expect like I wouldn't call it a found footage film, Alex, right? But it's filmed from like a camera the whole time, like somebody holding a camera like we would use for on site or something. So there's that. And just a great concept, I think, overall of something. I love those realistic type situations and scenarios where like you just fall into some shit, like kind of like Green Room, right? Like this was the same type of thing, and it goes to just such a different, a horrifyingly realistic, potential direction. I was like, fuck, man, like. I'm not gonna spoil. I'm gonna try not to spoil things here, but like the first thing that they did, the first thing that
Right.
he wanted to
Right.
do when they got there, I was like, oh, I'm so excited for where this is going to go. And
Yeah.
some minor twists in there that maybe didn't catch me too off guard really because of just how things started, but it kind of lulls you into it a little bit. So it was very fun. Really kept me on the edge of my seat. It felt, this is weird, Alex. I don't have this very often where it felt longer than it was. I
Mm.
think I got kind of absorbed into it that way, which was a problem. I'm going to tell this is kind of a funny story because, as you know, I've been talking to a new lady recently, and I was kind of texting her a little bit. I couldn't really text her throughout the movie because it was making me feel uncomfortable. It was making me feel like a creep, So it's like I can't do this right now. I need to just get past this. And so, yeah, it was a very effective movie. It was great, incredible ending, incredible. Like in terms of an ending itself, but also hit me with one of the funniest moments in the movie. So like I just fucking love Mark Duplass so much, both him and his brother. This was one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long time. I'm so happy you gave me this one. If you guys haven't seen or heard of it, definitely check it out. Creep
Yeah.
2014.
It's
Awesome.
just it's just unnerving, right? It's just like
Yes.
the entire thing is just very unnerving. The sequel Creep 2 is very good too. So like if you ever want to fucking watch the sequel, it's very good. Yeah, I just felt like ugh, like kind of the whole movie like ugh,
He was
you know?
phenomenal, man. Like he's always been good and stuff, but like this was maybe the best like acting that he's done. Just God, he's
Yeah.
so great in every way. Love Mark. Love
Yeah.
Mark. So all right. Let's move along then. What do we got this week, Alex? I know you gave me one, asked me about one earlier. Hereditary, shout out to that one if you guys haven't seen it, but I've seen that one. So we're gonna do something new. What do we get this week?
Um I'm gonna give you Let the Right One In. Have you seen this?
can't say I have. Name doesn't sound familiar.
All right. Yeah. So it is a foreign movie about
Which year, by the
vamp.
way? We got to get the year.
Oh, let the right. Yeah, they're actually that's a good thing. It's 2008.
Okay.
Which is important because there's actually a remake, American remake, and there's a TV show that they redid. So it's a very popular IP, and the original is a foreign movie about a vampire. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna
All
say
right.
anything more, but it's very good. So enjoy.
All right, awesome. It's very interesting that you went with the foreign movie because one of my possibilities here for you is I don't think I'm gonna give it to you because I think you will have maybe not seen the other ones I want to give. But yeah, so we were kind of thinking the same thing here with the foreign ones. But all right, looking forward to that. Vampires, it's what I am. So we we will be looking forward to that. If you can't tell, my lighting is making me extra pale these days. But all right, Alex. So I have these three options here, and we'll start off with my top one and see if you've seen it or not. But A Cure for Wellness from 2016.
See that one.
I love that one of my favorites. All right, so maybe you will end up with the foreign film, but yes, that is one of my favorite, one of the most visually kind of stunning movies of the last so many years. I really enjoyed that one. But Gore Verbinski, right?
Yep.
Yes, and then Mia Goth, kind of like really helps put her out there a little bit, I think. Just a fantastic one.
1000%.
Just gotta touch on that. But yeah, I love the everything about that movie. So check it out if you haven't seen it. And then I think you have seen The Lobster, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
okay, all right. Which another great one, which I watched like 2 months ago or so. That was fucking fantastic. I mean, Colin Farrell, he doesn't miss too often, but if you haven't seen that one either, definitely check it out. But all right, then I guess you are gonna get the foreign film. So I'm giving you then Cold Fish from 2010. This is
Okay.
one of my favorite Japanese directors, Sion Sono. He has made a whole bunch of these movies. Um, I I don't know if I would say it's my favorite, but it's definitely fucking horrifying. So it's about a guy who runs a fish market and um one day somebody comes in and they're wanting to like kind of he wants to give his daughter a job or something. I haven't seen it in a while, but then they just kind of get slowly more and more involved in the business and it takes off into quite a world. It's something that you aren't going to see very often. Silent Sono, I equate him to the Quentin Tarantino, Japanese Quentin Tarantino a little bit, so
Ah, okay.
you can see that there. But it's I promise it's better than the stuff, and so definitely check that one out, you guys, because of course you can watch along with our movies as well if you haven't seen them. But trying to follow that horror theme as Halloween next week, next Tuesday, when we will have episode 4. So
Oh.
there you go. But all right, that will wrap up the movie club this week. We're on a good stretch here. I'm pretty confident with Alex's choices, so I'm excited for the next one. You're gonna hit me with one just garbage eventually to get me back. I know.
I was thinking about doing it this week. I was like, all right, I'll fucking make you watch Terrifier 2 or some shit.
Oh
Like,
man, see
I
that
was
is
like,
like
I was,
something I'm not looking forward to.
yeah, like, I was this close to hitting you with a fucking bad movie, but I was like, I'll be above you, bro.
Okay,
I'll be above.
take the high road.
Yeah, I'm taking the high road on this one, motherfucker.
Oh my goodness. Yep, there we are. But all right, that means it's Q&A time, you guys, to wrap up the show as I start our questions this week. And of course, you can keep them coming while we answer. But real quick, Rain here with his puns. He's the pun master. The Trevor Peak of taking a leak. No way, you're back, Drake. I just saw this on his YouTube video. Yeah, man, we are here. New show, as you can see, every Tuesday again. Man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, and using his power. We're trying. But all right, let's see what we got here now. As off the top, right when the show started, Las Vegas Private Parts, fantastic names, asked, is the Bud Light the big breaking news that was being talked about from Dana? Pretty underwhelming, to be honest. So I don't think Dana said anything. Alex just kind of trolled everybody last night. If that's what you mean, Las Vegas private parts. But no, if you didn't see, Bud Light is what the official beer sponsor again as of today. But is that what he's referring to, Alex? I don't. Dana didn't say anything, right?
He said during the Abu Dhabi press conference that he was going to announce something on Monday or Tuesday. But I don't. I
There's
think
no way it's that.
no. I think he would have announced this. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting just to see how many people were like, "Oh fuck this! I'm gonna go watch PFL now." Like, who gives a fuck, bro? No one cares.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, that was a great combo there from LVPP, as we're going to call him. But Ghost says he quite enjoyed the silliness of the whole UFC 294. What specifically, like, are split draws or technical decisions because no one wins? Do you guys enjoy? I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there, Ghost. Oh,
What's
what you
this?
like specifically? Oh, okay, what that's what you like is the split draws or technical decisions because no one wins. Well, that's not very fun at all. I don't enjoy that. No, kind of for the reasons we touched on with Ankalaev and Walker. I mean, I guess honestly, in some cases, it is kind of hilarious, like the Blachowicz one, just because of a vacant title. It's like, wow, this really happened. But I still wouldn't say I enjoyed this. I feel like you've asked me this before, Ghost, but no, that's never fun, Alex. We don't like that shit.
No, no. I want a winner. I want a winner and
Yes.
loser.
Yeah, especially when the purses are affected. That's not very fun, especially for them. But and Ghost also asking question for the end of the show. How come no one asked Dana how Shara Bullet was going to get licensed in the US or a place with a valid commission? So obviously, Alex, I mean, nothing's off limits here. And I think Ghost said in a comment too. There's kind of controversies about potential with the Kadyrov affiliations there, and Hamzat is also speculated to not have a visa, right? Like that's kind of been one of the rumors throughout the year of why he hasn't fought sooner. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know the specifics behind Shara's issues. If it's the same. I mean, what do you?
No, it's his because he has the one eye.
Oh,
Shara.
really?
Yeah,
So,
like
like, you don't think they'll let
he's
him?
I I highly doubt they would let him fight in some commissions, maybe like a Florida commission,
So,
maybe
so
like a
that's kind of weird to me, just because of the fact he's already been fighting. Like we know that he can do it.
well, true, 1000%. But he's been fighting in Russia, and they don't give a
Yeah.
fuck about anything. And then I've heard that I've heard he is blind in that eye. I've heard that he can partially see a little bit.
Yeah.
Whatever the case be, he's definitely at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we see him fight in America. Maybe like I
Mhm.
know he wants to fight in China on December 9th. And why no one asked? Because everyone's a UFC shill, bro. Okay, no one wants to ask the hard questions.
I'm sure so. Like I didn't even know about that either, though. So I mean, I just assumed he had different colored eyes. So, so- but that makes a lot more sense. So, but no, that's a very good question, Ghost, and hopefully, yeah, hopefully we can maybe get some clarity at some point. But yeah, good question. As James asked, the new UFC matchmaker was hired by Dana. Why don't you guys apply to be a matchmaker for Division U? Like I'm sure you get two would be better than the current matchmakers.
So I got
Appreciate that, James.
I am a A1 certified fantastic matchmaker on Twitter. But if you go anywhere outside of Twitter and you try and be a matchmaker for a promotion, you will understand that they have a horrible job because they have to deal with injuries, personalities, timing,
Managers.
managers, the promotion. I mean, it is a fucking shit show. And now that I've been around a little bit, like around the UFC, like, dude, like, there's a reason why Joe Silva was such a fucking prick. Like,
Yeah.
it is a tough job. It's a reason why, like, it's very very tough, and people want to shit on them all the time. Like, I mean, that's Bellator and PFL have horrible matchmaking, And there is the reason for that, because it's easy to make shitty fights. It's
Yeah.
very hard to make good fights, and that is the one thing that the UFC is so far ahead of the competition. It's not even fucking crazy, it's just the matchmaking, and it is tough to be a matchmaker.
Yeah, no, I've definitely found that out firsthand, just from talking to Shingo for as long as I have now, and like some of the stories he's told me, my goodness, is
Dude, it's
the,
it's it's crazy, bro. Like fighters come out and say they want to fight until they get the phone call and say you want to fight, and they're like, "Oh, no, I'm dealing with an ankle injury. I was just saying that to get my name out there." You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's tough.
yeah, it's a different thing. I don't know if that would be the most fun, James, but yeah, yeah, good for Joe again. I'll see how well he likes it, but. All right, then we move on to Cases here. Says Islam is the first fighter in history to beat pound for pound number 1, 2, and 3 all in 1 year. 2 finishes, including a knockout and a sub, and he did not get pound for pound this very year. What gets you there if not this? So Charles was 3, wasn't he? That kind of threw me off a little bit, but I mean, so this is super interesting, right? Like, of course, this is the debate and the talk again is the pound for pound spot. After the first fight, it was too. And I completely strongly agree with either argument for Jones or Makhachev right now. And I said this in the morning report today, but like, obviously with Jones, you have the guy who has won in 2 different divisions now, titles in 2 different divisions, just came up, did that in his last fight. Of course, there's the activity gap. I'm not really even considering that, but light heavyweight guy at heavyweight now. With Makhachev, you have him defending twice against the same guy, champion from another division. Not quite the same there, obviously, but if you look at Volkanovski wins are better to me than Gane and even potentially Stipe, no matter how that's finished. So I get both. Like, I don't really fucking know who I lean towards right now because I don't give a shit about pound for pound. It's stupid and, a sales tool, obviously, that kind of thing. But I get that great points to make there. Cases. I get both sides. So I'm completely fence rider here. I just want to lay out kind of how I look at it. Like, I'm sure, Alex, you're completely Jones because you're biased, but, but I get both. So I just kind of had to say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can understand. No, 1000%. Like, I might be a Jones dick rider, but I can see either way. I mean, if Islam were to get the number 1 spot for a couple weeks until Jones fight, I mean, I would say give it to him. But John Jones is the best fighter of all time. So, and
This is about now.
if you throw Islam and Jones in a room right now, who would win? John Jones. So he's pound for pound number 1.
See, so that's like you can always throw that in there too. Like, that's why I fucking hate that stupid debate. I don't hate it, but I don't care for the lists. So yeah, a fair question though, Cases. It's interesting to see kind of the sides. But Alvin asking, have you seen the movie Old Yeller? It's a great movie that has themes of loyalty, hard work, and the sadness of losing a pet and friend. Alex, have you seen Old Yeller?
I mean, I saw that in like 7th grade,
Yeah,
and then I read it in like 8th grade or some shit like that. But I'm not a fan of watching animal movies, especially if they die.
Yeah, so I've never seen Old Yeller either, but I know about it. Obviously, it's the classic. I mean, the closest thing would be Marley and Me, probably, and yeah, that was sad at the time. Daryl in here saying, "What do y'all think about the grounded opponent rule?" Fucking stupid. This is something I'm very passionate about, Daryl. I say it every time on Twitter that something happens. Legalize all grounded strikes to opponents. I fucking cannot stand this bullshit. It's pointless. I could go on and on and on, but no, get rid of it. Look, it's just, I can't.
I'm right there with you, brother. I take this shit away. Now, what do you think about soccer kicks? Bringing
Fine
soccer
with
kicks
them.
back.
I'm fine with them too. I mean, that's a stupid question.
Okay.
You know me. But let's say if we can go without them, I'm not going to be super upset because like they don't happen that often really. But yeah, I mean, if we can have them, then I'm gonna take them. But I don't need them as much as let's say the knees in these kind of silly positions where it's clearly gaming the system in a way. Which, hey, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? I'm not saying anything about that, but
It'll make wrestlers want to hold you down.
yeah, yep.
Think
I
twice
mean,
about that.
yeah, one of the things that has always kind of stuck out to me, watching Ryzen over the years and whatnot, is like how having this ability also can really affect submissions, right? Like I always remember an example of, I think it was Miyu Yamamoto got caught in an armbar, and to defend, she was like kicking her way out, kicking at the opponent's face, and I was like, that's fucking pretty great. Like realistic. That's why I like that, is because that would happen on the fucking streets, like
Yeah,
so
1000%.
what are we doing? And like from that position, you're not gonna you most likely not gonna get a knockout. I don't think you're gonna. These fears of this kind of stuff is really stupid to me when you look at clean head kicks to the dome, Edwards versus Usman too. Like you're telling me that's not worse than, that's the same thing as a sucker kick essentially. Like a clean one, sure, maybe they might be on the ground and whatnot. It's the optics. It's all fucking optics, dude. So I could go on about this, Daryl.
I 1000% agree.
All right. I appreciate it. As Ghost here asking, did we like Cejudo kneeing DJ's deltoids in the rematch? I always love kind of crafty, unique strikes. I mean, I don't think they do a whole lot, but funny to see. I don't even specifically remember that.
You don't think Connor's elbow to Cerrone or shoulder to Cerrone's
I don't think that knocked him out. I think it was a good move, but I don't think it hurt him like everyone said. That was, oh my God, that was so stupid just to reflect on that for a second. I was like, man, I can't believe, you thought of that. Like, Jones literally did that like 7 years ago against Glover before. Like, God, you guys. And those looked maybe more. He was like jumping into him, like the goldfish brains out there are crazy, or just the ignorance, but yes, good. Maybe that's what is that. Maybe that's what Ghost is meaning with the shoulder strikes, because that sounds familiar now. Oh, but he's saying knee in the delts from I mean, that works too. Yeah, I think that's a kind of just staying active, maybe more than anything. But yeah. And then James here had a comment real quick before we do close out. I still think that Alex would do a great job matchmaking for 185 and me for 105, a division that it doesn't exist in the UFC, but I would love to matchmake that globally. Well, let's do that then, Alex, to close out the show. What would be the one division you would want to? I don't know why James is saying 185 specifically. I mean, I know you've done some good matchups, but if you could pick, which one?
I mean, light heavyweight's always been my favorite division. But I'd probably pick like bantamweight just because there's so many fighters in that division, so it'd be easier.
Yeah, just limitless possibilities there for sure. I mean, the one that probably needs it most is probably 185, like James is saying, because we had some weird ones earlier this year, obviously. But hey, it is what it is. So, all right, 135 Rock Dragon updates as well, but okay, yeah, he just likes to match.
I mean, I am a good middleweight matchmaker. So what can I say?
What can he say? But all right, you guys, that will wrap up and conclude another episode of Sound and Pound. We hope you enjoyed. Actually, real fun one. I think we got a lot of good conversation in for the lack of UFC upcoming. There's something going on in MMA. We appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a gosh darn thing when we're going live. We're every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Pacific time. You follow myself at Drake__ on Twitter and Instagram. He is Alex Behunin on both of those. You teased us with the plug there, Alex, for the prospect of the month. Anything else coming out? I know you dropped the Tyru Tolo interview.
Yeah, which is doing surprisingly very well. Speaking of, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, it really help us out.
Yes, indeed. And as for me, I did drop the Dakota Ditcheva interview last week. I think it was maybe after the show. And we got Kai Wu, some PFL ones here. I also spoke to Julia about that'll come out next week. I am trying to juggle getting out a big Invicta defining moment piece here, as you guys have maybe been following along with some of those I've been doing throughout the year. It's from my big project I started in 2021. So I'm really just trying to find the moments for it. But yes, always working on things. So look forward to that, you guys. But until then, enjoy the week off at UFC. Enjoy the wackiness of Fury and Ngannou if you're into that kind of thing, and everything else in between. Watch the movies with us. We haven't got any engagement there from you guys. We'd love to hear what you think of our movies that we watch on a weekly basis. But until then, we will see you next time. Stay safe and stay sane, everybody, and keep on pounding.